Now I would like to start the first panel discussion. We're going to have two panel discussions. In the first one, we're going to look at how to include agri-food aspects in the women entrepreneurial support programs. And the second one, how to include gender aspects in the agri-food entrepreneurship programs. So without further ado, I would like to invite my fantastic panel to join me. It's gonna be Kristina, Ralitsa, and Vadim. Are you with us? Yes, you are. Fantastic. So we know the topic already. Before we continue with the discussion, I would like to give you just a minute to present yourselves and give us some sort of context related to your work and why you are with us today. So let's start with Kristina.
Well, hello, everyone. First of all, thank you, Andrew, for such nice introduction. And I'm very honored to be in such important event and to talk on a very important and deep topic, I should say. Why I'm here with you all today? First of all, I'm CEO of AgriFood Lithuania. We are EIT Food Hub in Lithuania, and we've been running EVA program now since 2021. We have done EVA program, we have done EVA boot camps. Myself, I was nominated from EIT Food to the EIT Awards as a Women Leadership Award in 2022. And myself, I act a lot as ambassador for the encouragement of women overall to take the role in the innovation, entrepreneurship, work with it. So we will continue to discuss that further.
Fantastic. Kristina, thank you. Ralitsa, over to you.
Hello, everyone. It has been a huge honor and pleasure to be invited to this event because we at the Regional Agency for Entrepreneurship and Innovations in Varna, Bulgaria, are very much focused on the topic of female entrepreneurship in general, and of course, in particular, to the women in agri-food sector, because we also have been running EVA program since 2022, and also being an EIT Food Hub since last year. But I should say that we also have another experience running general entrepreneurship support programs for female entrepreneurs within the Danube region. And we are now very much focused also on the circular economy transition, and agri-food is one of the priority sectors, as we all know. So I think this discussion will bring further insights into our work and the work of our colleagues, and to all of us that we have been doing and will be doing in the next years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralitsa. And Vadim, over to you.
Thank you so much, Andrew, and thank you everyone for being at this conference. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. My name is Vadim. I'm CEO of iHUB. It's a hub for startups and growth technology companies. So we have implemented several acceleration programs, and as well as incubation and empowering women programs in Ukraine that were really successful. And you know, Ukraine is an agri-food country, so that really makes sense to empower women in our country to do agro-tech businesses and agro-businesses. And recently we are designing the program especially for women, some vulnerable part of the woman in Ukraine, like veterans' wife or spouses, to do agro-tech businesses on the peer-to-peer support from existing entrepreneurs, as well as including psychological training to empower them, to make them real leaders, not only in the companies, but to lead the woman agri-food businesses ecosystem. So thank you so much, and happy to be here.
Fantastic. Vadim, thank you very much. Now, we are going to talk about the agri-food aspect in the women entrepreneurial support programs. What are your takeaways from the presentation that we just heard from Alexandra that are relevant for your work, but also for the topic of our today's discussion. You can go ahead. I'm not going to point who's going first, but Kristina is smiling, I can see. Go ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Alexandra, for such a great work which was done. A really deep analysis, and as it was mentioned by Maria-Lisa in the beginning, mentioned by CEO of EIT Food, Richard, and Alexandra just proved on the real scientific data that we are facing quite lots of barriers, and that is quite sad part. And what we are really seeing while listening to Alexandra, I was thinking right away, even though those numbers are so low that we see the investments for the women companies, it's not, you would get back the argument like those open calls, acceleration programs, different initiatives, they're open for everyone. It's not just for women or men. So you would hear that some skepticism would be said that everyone can apply, everyone is free. So why women are underrepresented? So first of all, I would say we need to go deeper why women do not apply. It's not that they're applying a lot and then they are not get funded. But it's the encouragement, enforcement that we need to talk about a lot. First of all, just to encourage to take the first steps, because women in just from the nature are the community builders, family builders, and they are very, very idealistic. So in many cases, you know, for them, this first step encouragement, this just little push would help to break through and to take the first step. So in my experience, what we are seeing, those programs, EVA program acts as a support, first of all, for them to gain the belief in themselves, the trust in themselves, the trust in the community, the trust that their ideas are great. So this is very important.
Thank you, Kristina. This really echoes our research where we found out that women are basically very often afraid of failure. And that is why they do not always want to apply. They don't feel strong enough to be able to see that they might actually win. Ralitsa, what are your takeaways from the report?
Of course, there were a lot of points that we can stress, but just to complement what Kristina said, we see that there is a growing number of women actually in the agri-food sector. And still, of course, we have the perception this is a male-dominated world. So the real challenge here actually is to make them more confident. And of course, we can do that through different means and channels. And the first one is to get them interested in the agri-food. So we have to show them different evidences of successful role models, women in the agri-food sector. So these role models can share their journey, they can share the challenges they faced, they can provide practical insights and inspiration. So this is one approach to get actually more women focused on this sector. And I think this is also very important aspect. Of course, not only that will work, but we have also the programs that are constructed in a very good way, like EVA, that is bringing not only training, but mentoring throughout the program. And I think this is also very, very crucial aspect.
Thank you very much, Vadim. What are your takeaways?
My takeaway probably related to startups as well. You know, every startup wants to change the world. And when we look at this report, we can see that any organization that would like to enter and to start support women in agri-food can really change the world now in many, many countries. So I would say for companies and different support organizations, there's a huge perspective in this field, and you have a lot of opportunities. It's a great market niche. But for me is what I would take from this report. I like checklists very much. And that checklist that I've seen, it could really be implemented. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that on these maps we had no Ukraine, but the problems can be the same and even worse in some cases. So my feeling is just that we should go this way, and it's 100% right way to change countries for better. Thank you.
Thank you, Vadim. We were talking about success stories and role models. And I think that is really important to show other women that there have been a lot of successes. There have been amazing examples of women who made an impact or changed the world, using Vadim's words. Can you share some of these successes that you've seen in your ecosystems with us, so our viewers, our audience can relate to them as well? Kristina, do you have examples of success stories that you could share?
Of course, we have lots of success stories, and even from coming from the EVA program, we have women who, for example, as I said before, they didn't want to apply or were too afraid to apply, but then somebody encouraged and they applied like the last minute. And I have very good story about Paulina, which is making fruit berry drinks. And the most interesting part was that when she came from totally different sector. That's what we are talking, how to attract women from other sectors, right? So she actually just had some kind of idea, and EVA acted as a platform, as a foundation for her to start evolve her idea, which is very, very important. And as Ralitsa mentioned, mentoring, not only, acceleration, not only consultation, but mentor. That's probably the most important person in the journey, to motivate you, to give you that sparkle in your eyes. And she was, really working hard, but to tell you the truth, at the end of the EVA program, she didn't win anything. It was like, we felt like it didn't do enough, but, we felt maybe it needed more of the exploration for the idea, and nobody really believed that it's going to be happening further. But what she did right after the EVA program, she kept going further because already she had that sparkle. From the mentoring, from the community, from the new networking, new meeting new people. And so she got another woman into her team. So there were 2 women now. And in a year, they had a actual product launched to the market. And it's still existing now for 2 years already. It's still going wider, it's communicating, it's growing bigger and bigger. So I would always underline that everything is impossible until it's done. That's a very famous quote. So just, and such stories I could be telling you more and more. And, like overall, the world statistics shows that only 1 out of 10 startups makes through the first year, only 1. In my statistics with EVA program, out of 10 women which participated in EVA program, at least 4 is moving further with products and services. What it tells you, once the women get that sparkle, that, love in their heart, it keeps going and going and going. So yeah, this is very important. Another fact, I don't like to brag a lot, but I get a lot asked this question. Kristina, was it hard? I'm in the AgriFood sector now for, oh my God, a lot, 13, 14 years. So, and I get asked like, was it hard for you? Is it still hard? And I always say, because I was always confident what I am talking about, because I was always confident and believing in what I am doing, I never had a doubt. I never...
factor, to just have this belief in yourself.
That's very important. And going back to Paulina and her story, you said that it was just a trigger during the program. Was it the mentorship that was really critical in her situation?
Yes, exactly. Mentor was probably the main person who actually showed her the way how this innovation could be done, because she came just with a plain idea. This is very important to underline. And not necessary every woman would come, you know, with some groundbreaking technology, innovation, novel food, which would change the world. Sometimes, and I stress that very much, this factor, sometimes it's very, very crucial that we let just, you know, to change the market, just to change the little habits of our everyday life, to change our health. And it's not necessary to change the whole world and right away, right now, tomorrow, or something like that. And another very important thing, we've been talking a lot about high technologies, like it's digitalization, biotech, and other things which are, of course, high priority. But we need to remember, women are the first ones which bring and can bring the social innovation. So they're very important for their communities. If we are talking about regions, as what Richard has mentioned, that they are the first ones to bring innovation to the regions. So we are seeing depopulation in the regions, and women are becoming this beacon, you know, bringing the innovation, social innovation, uniting communities, bringing back communities to the regions. So we need always to remember that not only high-tech digitalization or very groundbreaking, you know, innovations should be supported.
I can see that you're talking a bit about reinvention as opposed to innovation, so making these small changes to improve the overall picture. One actionable thing that I see, that I hear from your intervention, is to encourage women who have already succeeded to share their experience, and also to encourage and speak to people, to women, specifically women in this case, about what they can actually achieve. Thank you very much for that. Ralitsa, any success stories, any fantastic examples coming from Varna or Bulgaria?
I can also support Kristina in the examples she was giving, because you know, AgriFood is really a mission-driven business, and this is what Alexandra also said. So also from the startups that we had involved, or business ideas that were involved in the 2 editions of EVA that we have been running, we actually noted that more than a half of the businesses actually continued to grow. Most of them actually entered new markets, so they were growing the business. And we had a very successful also story that one of the mentors and one of the mentees, they started doing business together. We also had a story where one of the mentors decided to create a special regional fund just to support AgriFood female entrepreneurs. So he was going to the ladies that were involved in EVA, and he was trying to understand what is the problem, and so on and so forth. So we have a lot of examples, and of course, not only of the winners, because one of the winners, I think this is a great story to tell. She was a lady who thought that she will retire. She used to work in Italy for a long time. She was a manager of a factory. So she came back to Bulgaria. She moved in a small village, and she saw that there is a potential actually to have all this beekeeping and everything, because this village was very prominent with this type of business. So she started with the beekeeping, and later on, together with her mentor, because she entered the program with one idea, then together with the mentor, actually they focused on something else, and now she actually bought the equipment, partially with EVA money, of course, for producing candies out of honey. So I think this is also one great story to show that, first of all, there is no age limitation. And of course, women in rural areas, we have a lot of them being involved in these programs, I think, which is great, because we saw that gap actually, that we don't have so many support programs in that are addressing the rural areas. And I think this is also a very good example of networking in between EVAs and mentors that are bringing actually the idea of EVA forward.
Ralitsa, can you tell us how old this woman was when she started the business? Because that's also very interesting.
She's over 50.
She's over 50. So as you said, business does not have an age limit, and you can start anytime. And then you can actually also pivot, as she did in this situation. We're going to talk about the rural areas in a moment, but I want to first go to Vadim to ask him about his success stories, because I know from, again, my own experience that Ukrainian women have been especially encouraged. Maybe that's a positive word in a negative situation, but they were especially encouraged to become very entrepreneurial within the last two years. Vadim.
Thank you so much. You're totally right. Because a lot of men are now doing a lot of stuff related to the war, because we need to defend our country. So the bigger responsibility for the families comes to the women's hands. And sometimes they really need to produce food, some means for existing for their children. And I had this example, I will tell in a minute, but it just shows what was said earlier. We need to light the spark in the eyes of the woman, and then it goes. And I would add also that it's totally right that we do not need to create the super tech agri-food businesses at the beginning. We need to create the funnel. The more women we have doing food businesses, the more will go to the tech, because first you need to understand what it's about, and then you can bring more money when you know how to improve it with the tech solutions, because it's very hard in agri-food to build the tech business just from the scratch. But for that woman, I have it's not our ingredient, but it's an amazing example how the woman, when the war started, full-scale invasion in 2022, she moved to the safer region. But in 3 months, she came back for about 30-40 kilometers far from Bakhmut, from the front line. And she had previously a greenhouse, and she was growing something like dill, lettuce, microgreens, etc. But during the war, she managed to scale almost 3 or 4 times her business, because the rent is cheaper. She pivoted from selling to her own shop to selling for the big retailers, selling everything at once. And there is an huge unemployment rate. She makes the jobs. People can, she can find better people easily in that territory. So for me, it shows that actually, if you want, there's always an opportunity. If you want, if you act, if you go, if you are not afraid of different circumstances. And probably, I think it's a woman. No man couldn't do that, because she needed to feed to her children, and she had no opportunities. And the business was only doing later on the business. It was the one and real chance to survive and proper living for their children. So motivation for women, I do not like to say that, but it really exists, that she's the mother, and she probably could be more risky, and risky in business is much better, because man is about the calculation, woman is about to succeed. That is the difference in all businesses that I see. When I have a lot of women friends that are doing business, but they do not believe, oh, I can fail, maybe I will succeed. When they start,
no, it's not the answer.
I can't describe it in another way? Or what is their superpower? And we need just to spark this light so they could succeed and provide with the tools. That's my opinion and success story. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. That's really something, because I've also heard a lot of women, Ukrainian women, saying now that, I have to do things today. There might be no tomorrow. So it is the only opportunity that I have. But Ralitsa, I want to go back to you, because you said earlier that a lot of the women that you are supporting are actually located or they live in rural areas. And we've been saying, and also Alexandra's presentation emphasized the fact that it seems an even bigger challenge to reach the women living in rural areas, in small villages. How do you do that these women actually respond to your calls to participate in the program?
I think it is very important to have a proper network through which you can reach to the different remote areas. So what we actually use, we use the power of media. And the power of media, meaning that we have different specialized channels here in Bulgaria that are dealing with the agri-food sector in general. So it is very good that we have very good examples, because we have rubrics, for example, Ladies in the Agriculture, that is run by one of the biggest platforms. And this is going from 2017. So it is quite a topic, I think, here, at least in our country. And of course, going through different types of media, not only the online, but the traditional ones. And of course, relying on networks, because we have quite a big network of supporting organizations in the smaller places. I think this is crucial. And of course, the main idea here is to make the agricultural sector more attractive to people in general, and to female, of course, also by showcasing different success stories and different innovations that can be used. So this is, I think, one of the most important things that I can reveal, how we can reach these remote areas.
Perfect. Thank you for that. We talked about making the programs even more attractive. And I would like to perhaps look at the issue through the lens of a policymaker or someone who actually designs the program. It doesn't have to be the government itself. It might be innovation-related organizations within different countries or acceleration programs and others. What would be your advice? And I'm asking the three of you right now, what elements should we perhaps include in these programs to make them particularly attractive for female entrepreneurs in the agri-food business?
I could start maybe. Yeah, so first of all, just little note, because I was really intrigued about this age, the availability of the age for women to join, different initiatives and even startups. AgriFood Lithuania is participating in the EU partially co-funded project Grass Ceiling. And it is particularly based on having women from different member states, which are doing the business of farming in the rural areas. And we have had this use case, which when a woman, actually chemical scientist, she has started a startup almost 70 years old. And now that startup, yes, it has grown up into a big factory family business. So it's never too late. And she was herself presenting at this project, this startup. They've been working now for 15 years with it. So it's amazing. 2 of her daughters has joined the factory working with the fish oil, actually, and doing really interesting new novel innovation. So just a quick remark about this age. So it's never
But thank you very much for that, because that's an even more interesting project, and especially her, you know, judging by her age, that's fantastic, a fantastic achievement.
Exactly. So it's like, again, encouragement, you know, and what she said,
Yes.
it was that she really hesitated for so many years. She really wanted to do something like that. But then when she was already, you know, kind of retired, she thought, okay, I have nothing to lose. And look what happened out of that. So I would just encourage not to wait, or if you waited, just go ahead. Just, there is no age limit for that. So now coming up, how to make those programs attractive. Of course, it is very, very important, because when we talk about the programs, it's on one side, if you have a but how to attract the policymakers to the process, the people. So from my experience, it is crucial to find really interested people, because you can do the presentations, pitch about the importance of the women in agri-food sector, you know, advertise, and nothing will happen. So this is just, you know, people make the difference. So if you find at least one interested person in some you know, levels of the policymakers, and then you start to build on that, because many programs are already intact. Smart Specialization is doing a lot of things, and the different funding schemes, you know, other special governmental aids or special programs for the innovation. But, you know, to dedicate just for the women, so it needs to be seen as an important factor, because, and what kind of KPIs could be reached. So from my experience, you just need to find the right persons to who to talk to. So.
Thank you, Kristina. Ralitsa?
I would also have some stress to make here, and it is related that with the fact that first of all, we don't have the reliable data. This is one big problem.
Yes, Alexandra talked about it as well, right?
Alexandra talked about that. And of course, you know that policies are based on different data that we provide them with. So anyway, it is a hot topic. Many countries around the world, and here in the European Union, aim to increase the women participation in the entrepreneurship in general. And of course, they see that as a priority. At least in our case, we have also some activities included in different strategies. But in order to achieve that goal, to have more female entrepreneurs, to have a better support programs, we have to know what are the drivers that are the most prominent in determining women participation and business outcomes, because this is what we are going to actually focus on. So first of all, as we already mentioned a couple of times, I believe it is very important to have training programs included in the policy instruments that are especially designed to develop more positive self-esteem and confidence in women. Also, of course, we have to educate women about financial instruments and grants, and to create mentorship and group support programs that can help them increase their confidence, information, and support. So it's not only the government that we have to address, but also the business support organizations that are bringing this change, actually. And we have to focus on female entrepreneurship and leadership development skills, on financial instruments that I believe will have a special discussion after this one dedicated to funding. So I think this is very important to have all the stakeholders involved in order to have this positive shift.
So collaboration, definitely. But I want to go back to what you said about instruments that would increase confidence. Do we have any examples of that? Because that's a very soft thing and really difficult to measure, isn't it?
For sure, that those are not only trainings, but we have discussed a couple of times already the role models that we are providing, that are publicly available. So it is, I think, one direction in which we have to work probably further.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you very much, Ralitsa. And Vadim, what are your thoughts on those, instruments that, or advice basically, that we could provide to policymakers and all the stakeholders that design programs for women?
First of all, I would mention that for people that is not it's a problem in Ukraine that usually to policymaker we do not provide solution, we provide only the problem that it still exists. I will advise everyone to think further and really provide the solutions for making this program and win-win strategy, and especially understanding what resources does the state have or the local communities have. But as for me, I slightly believe in grants. I believe investments in better, even or payouts or something that really motivates people to have. Yeah, you can have the small grants, but usually I see a lot of policies that are stopped at the initial phase. They help you to start the business, but they do not help you to scale. But it's very important for people to scale faster when you have something. And of course, education. But you said how to make people encouraged. Probably that's what we are doing with veterans now, and spreading in the conditions of Ukraine the total PTSD, but it could be also adapted to the rural areas. We included psychology aspect, and it starts with the business games, business psychology, leadership, but we have the personal sessions with therapists, and after that, they start changing the mindset. They became more confident in themselves. They start to even how you comprehend the fail. It's a disaster or it happens. But you need to accept that, not just to read somewhere, you need to accept, and psychologists help it very much. Also, I would recommend to include some, if you have for women that only want to start the business, also include few women at the early stage that already started the business to the education programs. It works amazingly when you discuss some topics, and that woman says that she started business, she's like 6 months, 1 year, and she says, wow, it really works. It would help me much in my business. When they talk each other and see on the real example, not someone very big, not someone very successful, but the same at the same page with them. Yeah, peer-to-peer approach. It helps much better. And in the digitalization era, anyway, you should make at least one boot camp offline, and at the beginning of the sessions that they could come, they could talk different topics in the evening, more than just doing business. After that, the communication start much better and helping each other. And probably I would share our experience that really works. You should avoid the mentors that have only 1 hour once a week or 1 hour twice a week. Because when you talk from the people that have never done business, she has a lot of barriers, she has a lot of ideas, and you need to inspire her all the time. So if the mentor won't answer, she wants to share someone, and the mentor is the closest, the role model for him. And she needs to get this support immediately, maybe within an hour, within 2 hours. Just let them chat all the time. And mentor should want to do that, to feel the impact. It's how to do that, because in tech accelerators, I saw some persons that, okay, once a week I will do, then group mentorship, and that's all. For me, it doesn't work. Especially, you need to do the program more emotion, more inspiring, and that is the way that we are now trying to do. I advise someone to think about these steps in every program they do, and it should help.
Thank you very much, Vadim, for that. I want to quickly ask you about one thing that you said at the very beginning of this part, which is grants. Do you mean that even if it's a small grant, that is a way of encouraging or at least drawing someone's attention to the program and sort of, I don't want to use the word buying them into the program, but perhaps, you know, through the grant, encouraging them to participate. Is that what you're saying?
I would say that with grants, usually if it's a grant program, as I see, you apply, they estimate your project, they give you money, and you spend a lot of time paying, making different reports, and that's all. Some organizations, maybe grants should be in steps, or they should contribute you more, like mentorship support, advisory, and investment. In grants, usually, sometimes it goes, not even in Ukraine, it goes for numbers and KPIs. We have the budget, and we need to spread like 300 grants. I'm talking about the national grants, big national programs, not some programs like NGO doing for 10 companies, but national grants. And okay, we need to have 300 programs funded, and to go for KPI. In real business, you would never found half of them. So maybe it's better to give more money and different scaling projects, something new, but to take selected or to create the ecosystem. When if you do not go to the grant, you go for the training, and then you can reapply. So it should be an ecosystem, not focusing on the money. And when the state creates only grant system, it fails on the great grant approach. It fails to create the ecosystem. We need to do ecosystem, and the state should probably, if they make 100 grants less, and spread this money for creating a huge PR campaign over TV show, bringing the top leaders of the country, saying woman is super important in AgTech. We are developing that. It's people start thinking about these, more people coming. It's about spreading the money. That was my idea, probably.
I see. Thank you very much for clarifying that. Now, we are approaching the end of the session, of the first session, but I want you to share one final message with our audience today, coming from the discussion today. Literally just one sentence. What would that sentence be if I asked Kristina?
Okay, so first of all, from what I've heard, we are talking about the same things, just complementing each other a lot. So my message would be collaboration and giving more trust for the women. So, and collaboration, it's not only between policymakers, but collaboration between EIT Food hubs, between implementers of EVA program, between just any, you know, women initiatives implementers. And the more we collaborate cross-border, cross-region, all over Europe, I think then the bigger impacts could be reached, and we can really encourage women throughout the Europe to take part in those programs, in those initiatives, and we will see more rural women coming into our programs.
Thank you very much, Kristina. Vadim, what would be your final message?
Yeah, definitely. I will agree with Kristina that collaboration, and what we should avoid is like actors in a women's sport, no competition, like I won't collaborate with you because you do the same. You should always remember, like all NGOs and supporting companies do like a business. If you do that, the competition is that I will do much better, I will put twice more efforts, and I will collaborate with you as well, because we can create the synergy. We can mutually do that twice better, improve each other. That's a problem that I see from the supporting organizations. And for everyone, I would say that women in business, it's not for women. It's for everyone, for children, for elder people, and for men. So everyone should contribute and inspire women, especially. I address to the men, or inspire your women to do whatever they want, to try out what they dream and support them. And it's the huge part that we are also missing, the families. Please support any single woman you can.
Thank you very much for that. That is really, really important. And Ralitsa, your final message.
So my final message is that we all here have to focus on female enterprises, because we see them as key actors in promoting the transition to sustainable agriculture and food systems that are capable of reducing environmental risk. And this is what brings us together today. So collaboration, networking, and of course, we have a stronger voice if we are together, just to make the world a better place for all of us.
Thank you very much. So collaboration. With that message, we are transitioning to the second session. Thank you very much. And we don't hear the applause from the audience, but I'm sure that if we were at an offline event, we would hear this applause for the three of you. Thank you very much for joining us.